Hello everybody and welcome back to the Bourbon Bar. I'm Holden and today I'm bringing you guys a review of another Booker's. You guys know how I feel about Booker's. I love them. This in particular batch is batch 2023-03 called Mighty Fine Batch. And might I say this could be a mighty fine batch. Now, for you guys' information, this batch in particular is 63.3% alcohol. That is 126.6 proof. It is 7 years, 1 month, and 10 days old, and this is Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, obviously. So, that being said, I don't want to dilly-dally, guys. I want to drink this. I want to get this right in the glass. So I am going to do that, but then I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a background, the story on what Booker's is and what they have to offer here, or what this in particular batch has to offer, I should say. So that being said, let me pull out the card here, and we'll just kind of read you guys what it means to be a Mighty Fine Batch. So the story behind this one says the third release of Booker's Bourbon 2023 collection is Booker's Batch 2023-03 Mighty Fine Batch. Yes, we know this. This batch is named in honor to the signature phrase my dad, Booker No, used to compliment anything he approved of, from his namesake bourbon to his country ham. If you knew Booker, then you knew that Mighty Fine was his go-to phrase. He would often get together with his folks in the bourbon industry to taste samples of Booker bourbon, and everyone knew he was happy with the selection when he sipped it and said it was mighty fine, followed by, that's a damn good batch. Shortly before Dad passed away in 2004, I selected the barrels for a Booker bourbon batch for my first time. I was a little nervous at first. I had big shoes to fill. After tasting samples I shared with him, he looked at me and said, "Mighty fine job, son." A lot of people thought it was one of the best batches, but receiving Dad's vote of confidence made it that much more special for me. I'll never forget that moment. Booker was not one to embellish his components with many describing words, but I have a feeling he would say that this batch is mighty fine, and I hope you think so too. So, that being said, that is the story behind it. Now, the thing is about Booker's and the story is, it's cool. It's just like a cool little thing, you know, you get a little extra with the bottle, a little extra bang for your buck here. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should be paying more for it, but if you guys are into that story behind whiskey, Booker's is very good at providing that, along with all the information. On this card, it also says all the different things that go into this, where in the rickhouse this barrel was from, how much is from this barrel, how much is from that barrel, which warehouse it's from. So all these different things all blended together make this mighty fine batch. So that's all provided for you. So if you guys are super nerds in that particular aspect, that's perfect for you. But that being said, let's go ahead and get this bad boy on the nose. That's great. Oh, okay, so on the nose, lots of brown sugar. It has this like beautiful, rich sweetness to it. With a little bit of a vanilla. Peanut aspect. This is a bean product, so you gotta expect some peanuts in there. But this is rich, creamy peanut butter. It is like all the best parts of peanut butter all mended into this glass here. Mixed with a little bit of nutmeg. There's a little bit of nutmeg in there as well, but overall, peanut butter is that main nutty source I'm getting in a beautiful way. It's creamy and rich, and I'm loving it. I also want to say there's a little bit of like an orange peely note in here, a little bit of zest on the nose of a citrus fruit. There's also a little bit of like a toasted oak. That oak presence is there. Loving it. I'm feeling it. Great nose on this one. And honestly, it smells fantastic, but predominantly I'm getting a lot of peanut butter, which I really enjoy. That being said, let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Okay. Oh, man. Honestly, guys, that could be my favorite batch of Booker's that I've ever tasted. I've had a few. I don't know if you guys can see them up there, but I have a few batches of Booker's. And by a few, I mean I have 6. This one's number 7. And my earliest one that I have is 2021-04. So I haven't had anything before that. But that being said, out of all those ones I have had, this damn well, first impressions, mind you. I did have a little bit of it earlier. I did kind of sit down with it before this video, obviously, like I like to do sometimes, but it was good then, but it's just as good, if not better, right now. I think the palette is just like absolutely punching the shit out of this. It's great on the palate. Let's get some tasting notes. That peanut butter from the nose coming full through on the palate. There is a lot of oak spice in here, so if you guys like a nice oak spiciness, that's something to look forward to. I do want to say there's a little bit of like a chocolatey note in the finish of this one in the back end of it, but let's go ahead and get another sip on it, and I'll give you guys some more notes. Okay, so caramel coming through here on the palate. There is a good amount of a oak presence in here. Not necessarily tannic, but there is that oak there, which I'm really enjoying. Orange peel coming through from the nose onto the palate. It's there, it's rounding it out nicely. I'm loving this. Typical like Booker's bourbon notes. This one is like, if you're a bean fan, you're gonna really enjoy this, I think, personally. This is what I look for. But we got that chocolate, that cocoa powder, like peanut buttery deliciousness. This is like, oh, this is good. One more sip, guys, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into the grading portion. Gosh, guys, that is really good, but I think it's time to get into the grades of this, but before we do that, let's go ahead and listen to a message from today's sponsor. Alright, everybody, so if you guys aren't aware, I happen to be partners with a company called Wrist Mafia, and if you guys are like watches at all, or if you're into watches, or you're trying to get into watches, you guys should definitely be checking out Wrist Mafia, because they're doing it right. Basically, what Wrist Mafia is a subscription-based company where for just $40 a month, they'll send a watch to your door every single month, and you get to keep that watch forever and ever. And every month they send you a new watch so you can slowly build and grow your collection. And these watches are valued at $100 or more. Sometimes they'll send you some really, really high-end ones. Sometimes they'll send you just their typical ones, which they're all very nice, high-quality watches that honestly look so cool. Like I'm wearing one right now. This one just came in. It is a Labette, and it's got this very nice, like textured inlay and a nice athletic silicone band, which I'm really enjoying because those honestly feel the most comfortable for me. But it just happened to be this month's watch, and it's really nice looking. I like it a lot. That being said, they also have 3 or 6 month subscription packages where you can buy 3 or 6 months worth of subscriptions. You pay all at once, get a little bit of a discount, and they'll still send you a watch to your door for the next 3 or 6 months. Super easy, you can cancel anytime, but if you guys wanted to check out Wrist Mafia, I do have a link in the description. I use my discount code at the checkout. It is Bourbon Bar, all one word, all caps, so that'll save you 20% off at the checkout, and that will help me out and support the channel. So if you guys are interested at all on checking out Wrist Mafia, make sure you click the link and join the Mafia today. Alright, everybody, so we're back and we're going to go through the grades of this, and you guys know how this works. We got grade on the nose, grade on the palate, and then grade on the value for the money. Add those together, divide by 3, and that's your overall. Now, the nose of this one, I personally think is an absolute hitter. I do think I like the nose slightly better than the palate of this one, but it is a very good palate nonetheless. Nose, however, is just rich, creamy. I love everything about it, especially that peanut butter note driving through hard. Nose, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.0 out of 10. Moving on to the palate, I think the palate is great, and honestly, one of the ones that actually holds up there with the nose for me personally, which doesn't happen as often. A lot of times the palate is much more further down than the nose on the scores, but palate still being great, wonderful long finish with a lot of heat and proof, Kentucky hug in it. I really enjoy the palate, so I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.7 out of 10. Last but not least, this bottle ran me for about $100. I think SRP is closer to 80 or 90. I can't really tell nowadays. It's so hard to tell. But I do think I would buy it again. In fact, I know I would buy it again for $100. So value for the money, I'm going to have to go ahead and give it an 8.0 out of 10. I do think, personally, that this is probably one of the better Bookers, in my opinion, that has come out recently. I personally think for my palate that this is my favorite one that I've had. But I do understand that everyone's palate is different. Now, if you guys are Beam fans, should you pick up this bottle? 100%. I think this is like the perfect Beam profile, in my opinion. But if you guys are just, looking for a good bottle of bourbon, this one will definitely get you there. $100 It's honestly not that bad of a price. If you look at everything else that's come out on the market right now, I think $100 is more than fair for a bottle like this. I do think there's been some shitters in the mix when it comes to Booker's occasionally, but I think this one definitely does not disappoint. So if you guys see it, I think that you should be picking up this batch of Booker's. This is batch 2023-03, mighty fine batch, guys. Go pick it up. $100 easy. Round all those grades together though, divided by 3, and the overall score for this whiskey is going to be an 8.6 out of 10. Pretty good. I think personally that this is probably going to be the Booker's that ends up in the end of the year blind for me. Like I said, I love Booker's. I do happen to be a big Booker fan, but this one is no exception. This one is just wonderful whiskey. I love it a lot. So that being said, thank you all for watching. If you guys liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, I do have a membership program on the channel here. If you guys wanted to check that out, click the join button. It should be right next to the subscribe button. If you guys are on mobile app, then you should definitely go on your computer and do it, or go on to your Google server, your Google browser, whatever. Look up the Bourbon Bar on YouTube, and then you gotta click the 3 dots and click view as web page, and then that'll pop up the join button. You guys can join that way. It helps the channel out. It helps me get bottles like this and even more bottles, hopefully, fingers crossed, for you guys that I can review for you guys. But that being said, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you all in the next glass.